US President Donald Trump has warned Iran that it'll face dire consequences for any further attacks by the Houthi group it backs in Yemen. On social media, Mr. Trump said from now on, every shot fired by the Houthis would be viewed as being fired by the Iranian leadership. Houthi rebels previously said they will meet escalation with escalation after US airstrikes killed more than 50 people. The Pentagon says the campaign against the Houthis will be relentless if they continue to target US ships in the Red Sea.
Firing at U.S. military personnel in the region and shooting at our ships and shooting at our drones and putting American lives at risk is not a good way to end this conflict. The Houthis could stop this tomorrow if they said, we're going to stop shooting at your people. But they've clearly chosen not to do that. And so this campaign will be relentless.
Let's get more on this now with our America's editor, John Lyons, who's in Washington. John, Iran hasn't offered immediate comment to Trump's declaration here. How dangerous a moment is this?
Well, Gemma, certainly it looks like, Donald Trump is saying that this will be met with some fierce response. Already the United States over the weekend bombed several targets around the capital in Yemen, Sana'a, and the United States is saying that it will continue this effort if the Houthis keep firing. Yesterday, the Houthis fired some drones reportedly at the US aircraft carrier, the Harry S. Truman. I don't think it's very smart to be for the Houthis to be firing at a US aircraft carrier with all of its firepower. Now, Donald Trump is saying that very much any shots coming from the Houthis will be seen as shots fired from the weapons and leadership of Iran, and Iran will be held responsible. So this is escalating at a time when we have several other major conflicts around the world.
The Houthi rebels are backed by Iran, but views differ as to how much control Iran actually has over them. What's your understanding there?
Well, the Houthis are very much a proxy of Iran. They are usually armed by Iran. The drones, etc., come from Iran. They're trained by Iran. They're funded by Iran. So the idea that they act independently, I think, is completely false. They may do particular operations by themselves. They do have a local command, the Houthis, based in Yemen. They may decide that they're hitting one particular ship or another. That doesn't necessarily have to be signed off by Iran, but that they are essentially a proxy of Iran. So the idea that they're independent of Iran is a nonsense idea.
And so Iran would have the leverage to stop the Houthis if they wanted them to stop?
Yes, Iran could certainly stop supplying them weapons. The Houthis, Iran is a major manufacturer of drones. We've seen that with Ukraine, with Russia. Many of the Russian missiles and drones, at least, that have been used to attack Ukraine have been made in Iran. The Shahid drone. And so, yes, I believe that Iran could stop this fighting, this shooting tomorrow if they wanted to. I think it probably suits Tehran's purpose to keep causing this sort of havoc in the Red Sea on the world shipping trade.
And John, on another matter, Mr. Trump will hold a much anticipated call with Vladimir Putin about the conflict in Ukraine tomorrow. What are we expecting from that?
What we're expecting from that is a lot more detail than had previously been expected. The White House today has been suggesting that there'll be detail as to land, in other words, which particular land Russia may decide or want to keep. In fact, it looks like Vladimir Putin will say to Donald Trump, we want to keep X, Y, and Z. They want to keep Crimea, which Donald Trump suggested they can do. Also, the White House has said that there'll be discussion about Zaporizhzhia, the nuclear facility, which has been in the middle of a lot of the fighting in the last 3 years, and in fact, who will retain control over that. So they're going to get into pretty intense detail as to what terms Russia would accept for a ceasefire. And then if the two of them come to some sort of agreement, then I think Donald Trump would then put that to Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine. So in other words, things are moving pretty quickly on this front, much more quickly than many people had expected.